Hello, Leo. Love reading for Leo. If you resonated with the title, here comes big truck. Sounds like a garbage truck. If you resonated with the title, there's a pretty good chance that there's a message in here for you. But let's go ahead and pull a card so that we can be informed on how the rest of the reading is going to go, so you know whether or not to stick around. Nine of Wands being here, it's like, what is happening again? I feel like I always have to defend myself from jerks. Ugh, that sucks. Why are you attracting these people into your life? Why? Why would you do that to yourself? We all, if you're watching my videos, then there's probably a pretty good chance you understand how the law of attraction works. In that when you focus on something, you're creating it in your life. And so if your thoughts are always going back to how this person screwed you over, and that person did this to you, and this person did this to you, and this person did this to you, then you're always going to be defending yourself from jerks. But we know that not every person that you've ever met in your whole life has done something terrible to you. We know that there are people that are really, really good, that there are people that you can trust in your life, right? So why are you putting so much focus on your intimate romantic connections turning out this way? Turning out to you having to defend yourself from them. From you having to protect yourself in some way. From you, I can see you being like, whenever I set a boundary, they don't like it. I can hear that. And the thing is, the reason that I can speak with that kind of cynical voice when I'm saying this is because I've experienced this myself. It's because I was, essentially emotionally abused when I was a kid by my father, who would, he would make demands, and if I ever said no, then he would make me feel really terrible, really put me down. I was the worst person in the world for saying, I can't do that. That's not a realistic expectation. And as a child, you can't say that, right? As an 8-year-old child, you can't say, I don't feel comfortable with doing that, or that's not fair to me to expect me to be that way. I didn't know how to express myself. All I knew to do was to just do what they wanted to do. And so when I grew up and I started attracting people just like attracting intimate connections that were just like my father, where I felt like they were making demands of me, and that I either went along with it and made them happy, or if I didn't go along with it, I better freaking run, right? I better get away from them as fast as I can. And it always felt like if I was going to deeply connect with someone, I knew that I was going to have to lose a part of myself, or I would have to constantly defend myself from them being angry with me because I was not making them happy. But now that I'm older, I'm looking back and I'm like, you know why I seem to attract all of these kinds of people into my life is because I already expected, from the beginning of my relationship with them, I expected that they were going to be just like my father, that they would not be able to control their emotions if I said no to them. And so what happened is I trained them inadvertently. I trained them to become like babies, essentially, that had temper tantrums if I said no, I can't do that. Because they got so used to me always saying yes that they thought something terrible was going on if I said no. So I trained them to become that way. And I pushed away connections with sweethearts that could have been more understanding, because they were like, something's wrong with this girl because she always says yes. She always wants to make me happy all the time, even though I feel like she wants to say no. And so they were like, something's wrong here, and they would move away from me. Right? And I wouldn't have an intimate connection with them. So I needed to get that was a long-winded thing, but I needed to get that out there because I have a strong feeling that is resonating with you right now, Leo. So how do we go forward so that you can attract connections with people that you don't have to defend yourself from? We got the Hanged Man, and it's really about taking some time for yourself right now. and that's okay. So if you are in a connection with someone right now, it's not necessarily that you have to break up with them, but it is important that you take time for yourself, that you pull back and do things just for you for a little while. If you are not in an intimate connection at this time, continue on that path of just doing you right now and getting accustomed to just spoiling yourself in any way that you can. Doing everything that you can just for you and be in no rush to get into an intimate connection with anyone new. Give yourself that time to just learn how to be happy doing you. You don't I get how this is like we don't enjoy being alone. Like part of being happy is being able to connect with other people and like being able to get their attention, being able to be sensual and physical with them. But this is not that time. This is a time for you to focus on retraining yourself so that you don't have to be in this vibration anymore. It ain't fun, is it? Does that guy look happy? No, he looks resentful. And you don't want to be in that vibration. You want to be happy and glowing. You want to be like beautiful Queen of Wands. Just sitting happy and being spoiled and getting to do whatever you want whenever you want. It's the opposite. This vibration is the opposite of where a Leo needs to be, where they feel like they're a slave to someone else's needs all the time, right? So take time for yourself to just spoil yourself so you can get in the vibration of being heard, starting with just you. You are hearing you and what you need. And it goes from there. And learn how to speak up for yourself and learn how to create those boundaries. And there are a wealth of resources on YouTube, just like you're watching me here, about how to create healthy boundaries in relationships, about how to stand up for yourself, how to articulate yourself, not in a defiant way, but in a way that doesn't immediately assume that the other person had bad intentions, right? You just say, well, actually, I don't think that's a good idea, but I want to suggest this instead. Stuff like that. Like, I don't feel comfortable with doing it that way, but let me get back to you on that. And I love that. Let me get back to you on that. I'll let you know whether or not I can do it. Just first thing is, don't say yes, even if you know you could do it. Don't say yes right away. Give yourself a chance to think about it for a little while before you say yes or no. And when you do get back to it, just say it without explaining yourself. Ooh, I love that too. I don't have to explain myself when I say I can't do what somebody wants me to do. Oh, I love that, because explaining yourself is the same thing as having something to be guilty about, and that creates resentment, right? We don't want that. You don't have to explain yourself. Well, you didn't mean any harm by asking me if I could do it, and I don't mean any harm by saying no. And I just say no, and I don't have to explain why. And it's lovely. What ends up happening is that people don't end up being as temperamental as you thought that they would. Right? Everything ends up turning out pretty good. This is where I'm going to leave off, Leo. I love you. And you're going to have a lovely week. You're going to have a lovely month. Make sure and check out the monthly readings on my playlist for March. Love you. I'll see you later.